want to jump in today and just follow up on a video I posted earlier, and that was on leaders' mind shift, the leader's mind shift, and talked about how you need to make that shift if you're going to be successful, going from a top performer to now being a leader, and what some of that involves. Kind of a follow up, maybe we'll call this the leader's mind shift part 2. And let me just give these thoughts. Once you've made the shift in your thinking and it's all about your team, let me give you 3 thoughts here of what you need to focus in on in a way that you can serve your team and make sure that they're going to do well. The first is that you need to understand the difference between delegation and abdication. There is a big difference. Abdicating would be like, I don't want to do this. Joe, you go do it. And then you don't know anything about what's happening in the process. You just moved it off your plate, and you don't know if Joe is struggling. You don't know if he's getting it done. You don't know. And then when something happens, someone comes back to you. You just say, "Well, I gave that to Joe. That's on him." That's abdicating. What good leaders do, they don't abdicate. They do delegate. And when you delegate something to people, it requires you to stay somewhat involved in the know of the process. How are they doing? So forth and so on. Which leads me to the second key here today, and that is you need to check in with your team regularly. Checking in with them regularly. It's an important thing. Not micromanaging them, but checking in to make sure that you are aware. Are they facing some roadblocks? Are there some issues that they're dealing with? Are they doing well? Do they need help? Are there resources that they need? That is the purpose of checking in. And that checking in should be fairly regular so that you stay aware. You know how to resource your team. That's delegation. So when you delegate tasks to the different members of the team, which you should do, you stay involved by checking in regularly. Not to micromanage, but to see, how are you doing? Are you okay? Do you need help? Can I help you with anything? You then have a good feel for what's going on with the project or the task, whatever it may be that you've delegated. Here's a third thing, that I think is important. You do need to understand the difference between delegation and abdication, and you need to do regular check-ins with your team so you know how they're doing, because they're your focus, right? Because you've made the shift in your mind. Yeah, so here's the third thing, feedback. You need it, but so do they. Your team needs feedback. Feedback should be something that is given regularly, timely, but it should also always be helpful when you give feedback. In other words, it serves a purpose of moving the process forward, not blame, shame, and all that stuff. It's a matter of giving feedback. Now, of course, there are times that our feedback has to be a little more critical in nature if something needs to be adjusted. And I may do another video on how to do that. That may be part 3 in this thing. I don't know for sure. But anyway, I want you to understand the need for feedback. You need it. And the higher you go in a leadership circle, you sometimes have to fight for feedback, because people are going to tell the boss what they think the boss wants to hear, or they're not at least going to willingly just challenge you. So you need to be cultivating trusted agents within the team, within your company, your organization, that you know will tell you the truth. Because sometimes the truth starts to go away when you become a person in leadership, and people they want to make you happy, so they don't always tell you the full thing. So you need the feedback, but your team also needs timely and helpful feedback. How are they doing? Are you doing well? Making sure that you give well-timed affirmation. Feedback is something that we all need, and without it, it makes us feel unstable, a little insecure. So you will do your team a great benefit by understanding the difference between delegating and abdicating, by recognizing that you need to be checking in with them on a regular basis, not to micromanage, but to just see how they're doing so you know how to help. And thirdly, you want to get a culture of feedback where people are able to honestly communicate with each other so that we know, are we getting there? Are we moving? Is there something we should be doing different? You as a leader need feedback, and your team needs regular, timely, and helpful feedback as well.